What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a very simple route combination that could beat cover 4 palms for a one-play score. But before we do that, guys, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you take the time to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads coming your way here on the Zan Madden YouTube channel. If you guys want to watch me play Madden live, you guys can find me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ZanMadden. The link is below in the description, and I do have exclusive sub-only content for my Twitch Prime and Tier 1 subscribers. My Tier 2 subscribers will receive my full Washington Redskins Hot Route Master offense on top of those sub-tips that go out each and every Friday. Okay, guys, without further ado, let's get into today's video. We're going to be talking about an easy way to beat the cover 4 palms for a one-play score. Now, the cover 4 palms has been in the game for a couple years now. I really enjoyed running quarters and palms last year because players didn't really understand how the rules of that particular match coverage applied to various formations on the field. So right now we're kind of seeing a resurgence of the cover 4 palms, kind of stemming from the Madden Bowl. Saw a number of players going to cover 4 palms as a match coverage to deal with some of the compression sets like gun bunch. But then again, we're also seeing players try to run this as a pure coverage that they'll run against spread. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a concept that you guys can pull from your playbook. No matter what playbook you're in, you should be able to find one of these. You want to go to your concepts tab. You want to go over to your deep pass to the right, and you want to go to the bottom, and you want to choose switch. With the switch concept, you want just any type of slot wheel route that is going to allow you to beat cover 4 palms. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the field here. We're actually in the run and shoot playbook, but I want to make sure that you guys understand that these principles are applied in every single playbook in the game. The run and shoot is just full of slot wheels, so I figured I could show you a bunch of them or just show you a variety of formations that you can run this concept out of and get easy one-play scores. So what you want ideally is a concept where you have the slot on a wheel. The run and shoot oftentimes will have 2x2, meaning 2 receivers to the left and 2 receivers to the right, and they're going to have slot wheel routes. Now, what you have to understand with any match coverage is its rules. So let's go ahead and take the field here running the play gun, spread, run and shoot, switch, dig. And what you need to understand are the principles of cover 4 palms. So I've got a defensive controller here. The player on cover 4 palms and cover 4 quarters will look no different in terms of 4 deep blue zones, a 3 rec hook, and 2 quarter flats with a base 4-man rush up front. Now, what is different is how the game plays this coverage under the hood. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how cover 4 palms works. Now, if you basically were to go to a play like 4 verticals, what you would notice out of cover 4 palms is that they would play standard quarters rules, because essentially the rule is you have a receiver. So let's go ahead and take a look at the receiver on the far left, Watkins. He is matched up on his vertical route against Marlon Humphrey, who is in a outside deep quarter zone. But this quarter zone has match principles, meaning that if Watkins runs a vertical route, Humphrey will play him man-to-man. Now let's go ahead and look at the slot. So let's go ahead and take a look at Tyreek Hill. Over him are 2 zones. You've got a pink quarter flat zone, and you've got a safety in an inside quarter on that play. Now, if Tyreek Hill runs vertical, as he is in this play, and I'm actually going to put him on a streak so he doesn't run an option route. If he goes vertical, what you will see out of this is you should see a slight reroute of the slot receiver by this pink zone, Clark, and he'll filter him off to the help behind, who will take him man-to-man vertically down the field. This will allow this player to either, sometimes they'll run with them in the slot, but then sometimes they will also, after that reroute, sit in the flat underneath. Now, if you were to apply the principles to the other side of the field here, you've got Demarcus Robinson on the outside with Marcus Peters over the top of him. You guessed it. If Robinson runs vertical, Peters is going to take him man-to-man. In the slot on the right, you've got Mecole Hardman. And you guessed it. If he were to run a streak, the quarter flat will reroute, give help to the safety behind him, and the safety will take them man-to-man. And then sometimes you'll notice that the quarter flat will either follow, or after the reroute, they'll sink out into the flat. Now, as far as this player goes, this is your 3-rec hook. He's going to play a short area over the middle of the field in reference to where the 3rd receiver is. So right now, if you take a look at this formation, what you essentially have is receiver number 1, Robinson, receiver number 2, Hardman, and the third threat is Damian Williams out of the backfield. He is technically tagged as the number 3. So this 3-rec hook will first be looking to the right side of the field, the right short inside of the field. Now, there's a lot of under principles in terms of how 3-rec hooks play, but let's just try to lay it out. The way it's going to work is, if your number 3 receiver swings out to the flat, you're going to see that. If you have a switch where, the number 3 receiver runs out to the flat and then the number 2 receiver releases to the inside, Hardman becomes the new number 3, which should mean that the 3-rec hook should be looking for him, crossing the field, et cetera, right? But let's go ahead and just play the principles out of your 4 verticals as I laid out for you guys here, and watch how this should develop. Now, again, we are in cover 4 palms, but I'm saying that if all options go vertical, cover 4 palms will play the same rules as cover 4 quarters. So we'll go ahead and show this to you here. We're going to snap the ball, reroutes, and then match coverage behind. They filtered it off, three guys underneath in zone. So I'll go ahead and show you that replay. And it did exactly as I was going to tell you it was going to do, where you get those slot receivers, get a slight bump off the line. 3-rec hook is looking at the running back, kind of playing underneath. Because there's no underneath dragging, the 3-rec hook is just going to chill. And, he's in the middle of the field with no threat to guard. Now, as far as the rest of it goes, you take a look at the back 4. So we give a kind of a top-down view. You can see how all 4 are turning and running with their man-to-man. And if you don't know that it's man-to-man, you can see right here, this guy is waiting. You see how he's waiting to turn and run with him in man-to-man coverage. So while it is its own principle, it is actually man-match once they go vertical. Now, this is where cover 4 palms is different. Cover 4 palms is going to play a trap rule, or a lot of people say that's kind of like cover 2, in that if you have the receivers in the slot released to the flat, what ends up happening is the outside players will trap that throw to the flat. So what this means is that Humphrey is vertical with the outside receiver unless the inside receiver runs to the flat. Then he's going to trap that throw, meaning that Humphrey's going to drop off the ball, see Tyreek Hill go to the flat, and then he's going to run back down on it. And this safety will rotate over and pick up the vertical route down the sideline. So to illustrate that, I'm going to go ahead and let these rules play. So you're going to see a difference here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to do it on both sides of the field here. So you're going to see what I mean. Go ahead and I'm going to click off of the defensive back, and you can watch how this plays. So watch how you're going to get the reroute, then to the flat on both sides, and then the safety takes them. So I have to throw that ball away. So this is why the cover 4 palms is very, very tough to deal with for so many players, is they don't understand the rules of why it works and how it works. So they set up these routes. They don't understand why these guys are matching the way they do. And a lot of competitive players are kind of getting away with, I don't know what to say. I'm just going to say, I feel like they're getting away with most competitive players not really understanding how the rules of the coverage work. They're using the exotic coverage rules, or how unfamiliar people are with these rules, against them. I mean, you see them matching man-to-man vertically, and then, you run a route combination where you send guys to the flat, and it's like, damn, how did he just go straight to a cover 2? Well, it's really not. They're playing palms. So knowing that you know these rules, how do you use those rules against the defense? So if we know that a player runs to the flat, he will get matched man-to-man by the guy jumping down into the flat, like you see on both outside corners. You got a slight reroute on the left because I put him in press coverage, and then you got an off coverage switch on the right. But both examples are doing the same thing in terms of matching. So what do you do knowing this? Well, you have to go into your arsenal and think, okay, well, my number 2 receiver needs to release to the flat, but he also needs to be on a man beater. So what's the best man beater that initially releases to the flat in football, or in Madden rather? It's undoubtedly the wheel route. The wheel route is the best man beating route in the game, in my opinion. So if I were to call straight up man coverage, 2-man under, and I were just to let these guys in man coverage play these wheel routes, and I'm going to take the safeties out I'm just going to put the safeties on blitz assignments, whatever. It doesn't matter. You watch both those slot receivers, they're going to not only cook their guys on the cut, but then they're also fast and they run away from them. So watch how this works. Both sides, just bang. Both sides, down the sideline. Now, obviously, I got blitzed right there, but you can see Tyreek Hill got a clean cut off the line, and he was gone. So, knowing that this is a palms coverage where the outside guy is going to trap down late, we can use that man beater against the cover 4 palms to kind of steal a quick touchdown. So, we go ahead and put this on the field, and you could run just a switch concept. Like I said, we go to the switch concept. So because we have routes on the outside that are releasing vertically and routes to the inside that are releasing to the flat, you will activate the trap rule of cover 2. But when they trap, now you've got a man beater on that guy that's trapping it, and that should open up the sideline. So let me go ahead and call the dogs off here. I want to just go 7-on-7, no pass rush, no blocking. I want you to see how the coverage rules play. So you're going to have these throws to the flat, trapped. Get these switches, and both wheels are wide open for scores. Both of them wide open. Because we took the rules of cover 4 palms and used them against the coverage. Now, this is where I try to teach in these moments that when you bomb coverages or you beat coverages quickly for one play scores, there's always a propensity for your opponent to send you those rage messages that you're a glitcher, they're reporting you, yada, yada. This is just film study. This is just knowing the rules of the coverage and knowing that Madden is a coded game and has beaters for man coverage and being able to exploit them. So you see how both sides, you've got these wheel routes that are getting trapped. If I zoom out, notice how the outside corners are getting reroutes, and then they say, nope, release to the flat, that's my guy. And then the man beater activates, both wheels open for one play scores. Meanwhile, you see that the safeties on these plays are getting beat by the dig and the post route, respectively. Now, this is where it gets interesting to me. On a competitive level right now, we are seeing so many pro players calling cover 4 palms, and they're putting their safeties in deep halves. Let me go ahead and put them in actual deep halves there since I'm in big nickel over G. They're putting their safeties in deep halves like this. So what they're doing is they are running these coverages where they have outside quarters and deep halves over the top, presumably to not get beat for one play scores, but they're not understanding the rules of the actual coverage. So when you go to a switch concept, all you're doing against this type of coverage is inviting the middle of the field to be open and the wheel routes to be open. Because you're going to get those guys that are on the outside cooked in man-to-man, and then you're going to have no routes matching in the middle of the field. And you're going to have 2 routes open on the middle of the field now instead of playing your match rules. So when people go to cover 4 palms and they start to do, crazy spot dropping of these zones, they put the safeties in deep halves, they shade underneath, they're losing key match principles to this route or to this coverage that you need. This is why you hear players all the time say, well, when I run cover 4 palms, it never works for me. It's because cover 4 palms is intended to be a stock coverage. If you put guys in deep zones, you're taking their match rules away and you're losing the cohesiveness of the scheme. If you shade your coverage, now all of a sudden your quarter flats are playing different rules. They're not playing matching principles. They're playing hard flats, and they're getting no reroutes on the slot receiver. Let me go ahead and illustrate that for you here. So if we go ahead and run this coverage, so whatever here, how I said earlier that you would expect a reroute of the quarter flats on the slot receivers. Let's go ahead and shade that cover 4 palms underneath. So what we do is we go to 4 verticals. It's shaded underneath. Let's just go straight up 4 verts. Now all of a sudden your quarter flats aren't getting the reroute to the slot receiver off to the safety. Now the safeties will still play their match rules because you're not changing the deep zone, but underneath you're getting no match help, no reroutes, no nothing. Just straight up releases down the seam free. And you see how, honestly, I could have probably lobbed that if I had, thrown that a little bit earlier. You don't want to let them get to that second and third level of the coverage without a release on it. So we go right back to it. This time I leave the coverage alone. I don't really change or shade anything. You run that same 4 verticals. Notice how you're getting a reroute. Both guys reroute, right? So that's something that you need to kind of consider when you run this, is that, if you're running this coverage, don't spot drop your zones because you're going to screw up your matching principles. And 2, if you're shading your coverage, you're also screwing up your underneath reroutes, which is going to hurt your coverage on the back end as well. So this is kind of a little 2-in-1 tip for you guys. If you run it, understand why you're running it. And if you're facing it, understand the rules of the coverage and use them against your opponents, because it's really not as complicated to beat as a lot of top level players are making it out to be right now. They're like, well, why does match coverage so amazing? It's really not. It's really not. And there's a lot of smart competitive players out there that played football, know the rules of football, or the coverage rules. They know schemes, and you know, they're kind of even struggling with it. So just thought I'd do a quick video, a little 15-minute video, actually not so quick, but hopefully this was informational for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, please drop them below. Appreciate all the support on the channel, guys. You guys have been awesome, and I look forward to uploading tomorrow's video. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.